Bill Burr just absolutely exposed Donald Trump and his goon squad, and what he said, brutal, hilarious, and 100% on point. Because while Trump cries law and order, his agents are out here in masks, dragging immigrants off the street like it's 1930s Germany. But before we get to Bill, it all starts with this jaw-dropping moment from Congressman Dan Goldman, who witnessed the whole thing.
Arresting and detaining immigrants who were here to appear in front of a judge as part of their court case. This is Gestapo-like behavior, where plainclothes officers wearing masks are terrorizing immigrants who are doing the right thing by going to court, following up on their immigration proceedings, and trying to come into this country lawfully, which is through asylum. I worked with the Department of Homeland Security, I worked with ICE agents, I worked with Homeland Security's investigations. I have never seen any plainclothes officer wearing a mask. And I asked them, why are you wearing a mask? One person told me, because it's cold. I asked him if he would testify to that under oath, and he walked away and wouldn't respond to me. Another person admitted that they're wearing masks so that they are not caught on video. And my question to them is, if what you are doing is legitimate, is lawful, is totally above board, why do you need to cover your face? Law enforcement officers do not cover their face. And in fact, the Trump administration is cracking down on universities for allowing protesters to wear masks. So apparently it is not okay to wear a mask if you are protesting the government, but it is okay if you are the government to wear masks and in order to shield your face from the public.
So ICE agents are now out here in ski masks, snatching people who showed up to court, not hiding, not running, literally following the rules, and still getting bagged like it's some dystopian reality show hosted by Trump himself. And the excuse? It's cold. Right, because nothing screams official procedure like dressing up for a bank robbery. One agent flat out admitted they wear masks to avoid being recorded. If everything's so legal, why the costume party? And here's the kicker. Trump's admin attacks protesters for wearing masks on campus, but has no problem with their own guys covering up like budget ninjas during secret arrests. It's not law enforcement, it's theatrical repression with merch. No wonder Bill Burr lost it on Trump. And what he said next, pure fire. You're gonna wanna see that burn.
And then sadly, I saw these clips of ICE going in and just ripping these people out of their homes, and mothers and grandmothers and children screaming, no warrant. If fellow U.S. citizens are like, what are you doing? They like intimidate them, arrest them and This is like Gestapo type of stuff, and it just blows my mind that there's a certain ugly segment of the American population that's enjoying watching these families getting ripped out of their homes. And you somehow think that America is going to be better if this is done. Like, so what? So they took those people out. They're taking these brown people out that are living week to week, and somehow you feel like if they get them out of the country, your boss who's not paying you a living wage will suddenly start paying you a living wage. What would be a great thing is everybody read up on the history of these that have run these companies. They have not wanted to pay Americans a living wage ever. They've never wanted to pay us a living wage. And the only reason why they do is because there's laws. And the only reason why there is laws is because people died during protests to start unions. And the fucking psychos that run these companies didn't want to pay a living wage, and eventually they took their factories out of the country so they could go back to not paying a living wage in the form of sweatshop labor.
Bill Burr just tore the mask off the American dream, and my god, it stings. He's not just talking about ICE raids that look like live-action kidnappings. He's calling out the people clapping for it, like it's some twisted game show. And then, he goes even deeper. You think deporting brown families will make your boss pay you better? Spoiler, he won't. Burr lays it out. Corporations have never wanted to pay Americans a living wage. They fought unions, broke laws, and when that didn't work, they packed up for sweatshops. And trust me, Bill Burr is far from done. The truth bombs are only just beginning.
And now they're eventually working their way towards this. The same billionaires that didn't want to pay in the 1800s, way back to the feudal system, they've never wanted to pay you. They don't want to pay you, and they just keep blaming people that don't look like you, that don't have any money or any sort of control over your life, and my people keep believing it. It's unfucking believable. Immigrants are not the reason why you can't make your rent. You can't make your rent because the guy that fucking employs you is not paying you enough money. He's not keeping up, or she's not keeping up with the rate of inflation. The sad fucking thing is there's enough money, there's enough food, there's enough shelter for everybody. But these super rich cunts want too much for themselves. And they're heartless. They don't give a f***. And when you start to tell them, hey, you're not paying us enough money, they go, oh, look at those fucking brown people over there. If we could just get them to stop jumping over a wall or get them out of their houses. If we could tear apart their families without a warrant, then I would somehow magically start paying you enough money where you could live comfortably and have health insurance.
Bill Burr is going full flamethrower here, and every word is dead on. He's not just roasting the billionaires, he's dragging the whole system. These greedy elites haven't ever wanted to pay workers fairly. Not in the 1800s, not now. And instead of taking the blame, they point the finger at immigrants. People with zero power over your rent, your bills, or your paycheck. It's the same tired scam. Blame the poor brown family, not the billionaire hoarding everything. And Burr, he's not even breathing hard yet. The man is just getting started. And it only gets hotter from here.
Unreal. And I gotta tell you, these fucking people that are just watching this stuff, and you don't think that eventually, if you just co-sign on an agency being able to do that, just barge into somebody's fucking house like that, just start lining people up, asking questions, no warrants, just total intimidation, right? If you're signing off on that, you have to understand, do you really think that that's just going to stop there? Let's say they got all the illegal immigrants out of this country. That work still has to be done. So now who's doing that work? And what is the rich guy doing? Do you think he's going to pay American citizen wages? Is he going to let one nickel roll out of his pocket? Has that been your experience watching these super rich people? Just out of curiosity. Anyway, it's tragic. This is just a really mean, ugly, I can't even say period, I guess exposure, that it's just brought all of these super fucking overtly racist nationalist psychos to the forefront.
Bill Burr just asked the question no one at a MAGA rally wants to answer. If ICE can barge into someone's house today, who do you think they'll come for tomorrow? Because once you let the government play stormtrooper, that game never stops with immigrants. And guess what? The rich guy still isn't paying you. He'll just find someone else to underpay. Spoiler alert, it might be you. Burr isn't ranting, he's ringing the alarm. This isn't just racism, it's class warfare dressed up in a flag. And now he ends with something rare from him, a real heartfelt message.
It's even happening in like stand-up comedy. It's fucking wild. You know? I don't understand. Who knew there was this many fucking people out there that felt oppressed if they couldn't be this fucking hateful. Anyway, Anyway, but that doesn't mean you can't be a good person. You can combat all of this shit.
Even comedy isn't safe anymore. Burr's right. We've apparently reached the point where if some people can't be cruel publicly, they feel oppressed. Who knew the biggest victims in America were just angry dudes with Wi-Fi and zero punchlines? But Burr shuts that nonsense down. You can be decent. You can push back against all this hate and still be funny, still be real. And that's the power of Burr. He's not doing messaging. He's just talking like a person who's fed up with the obvious. And that's what Democrats need more of. Forget hunting for the Joe Rogan of the left. We need more voices that cut through the noise like Burr. Not polished, not poll tested, just honest and sharp. Because while Burr's out here calling out the cruelty, the racism, and the billionaires hoarding everything, we've got actual members of Congress being threatened just for doing their job and daring to check ICE. And guess what? Trump is cheering that on, which brings us right to Jasmine Crockett. And what she said next, it's a bomb.
So why would the Trump administration want to dismantle offices tasked with conducting oversight of immigration enforcement and detention facilities? The simple answer is, without them, there will be no internal oversight offices to assess the legality of the Trump administration's policies on immigration enforcement. So what have the results been? Since Trump took office on January 20th, 9 detainees have died in ICE custody. In fact, in Trump's first month in office, more detainees died in ICE custody than at any time since fiscal year 2020.
Let's be honest, Trump didn't want less bureaucracy. He wanted fewer witnesses. Why dismantle internal oversight? Easy. No watchdogs, no accountability. ICE could basically operate like a rogue militia with a federal budget. And the result? Deaths. In just Trump's first month, more people died in ICE custody than during any month since 2020. That's not policy. That's state-sponsored cruelty. This wasn't about border security. It was about removing anything or anyone that stood in their way. And Jasmine Crockett, she's not just calling it out. She's about to drop some truly shocking examples, and they're brutal.
Congressional Democrats have engaged in oversight activities of immigration facilities across the country, from Florida, where a 44-year-old Haitian woman died in ICE custody, to Newark, New Jersey, where 3 of our Democratic colleagues visited an immigration detention facility to ensure the humane treatment of detainees. This wasn't about going in and breaking nobody out, y'all, especially when there were cameras rolling everywhere. That's not what they were there to do. Now, in a breathtaking act of executive obstruction of congressional oversight and the unprecedented weaponization of the Department of Justice, we have an interim U.S. attorney for New Jersey who for years has argued in court that Donald Trump is above the law. She has announced criminal charges against Congresswoman McIver for, quote, impeding and interfering with law enforcement. However, our power as members of Congress to conduct oversight is found in the Constitution and federal law.
So let's get this straight. Democrats visit detention centers to check for human rights violations, and that somehow gets spun into a crime. They weren't smuggling anyone out. They were making sure ICE wasn't treating human beings like livestock, with cameras rolling in full daylight. But Trump's DOJ? Now they're charging lawmakers with interfering, all for doing their job. The U.S. attorney behind it? A Trump loyalist who literally argued he was above the law. This isn't oversight, it's a witch hunt. And Jasmine Crockett? She's not done. She's about to drop even more truth bombs, and they hit hard.
In fact, federal law explicitly prohibits DHS from, quote, preventing a member of Congress from entering for the purpose of conducting oversight any facility operated by or for the Department of Homeland Security used to detain or otherwise house aliens, or to make any temporary modification at any such facility that in any way alters what is observed by a visiting member of Congress. It is against the law. Full stop. Separately, The court has consistently held that the speech and debate clause of the Constitution protects individual members from prosecution for legislative acts, including, quote, fact-finding, field investigations, and information gathering.
This isn't just sketchy, it's illegal. Federal law clearly states that DHS can't block members of Congress from entering ICE facilities. They can't change what's inside to hide abuse. They can't make it look cleaner, nicer, less horrifying. And yet, Trump's people tried to do exactly that. Jasmine Crockett is quoting the law, the Constitution, and the courts. She's laying it out point by point. And still, this administration went full authoritarian and tried to silence her. Why? Because she was doing her job, fact-finding, oversight, truth-telling, the very things Congress is supposed to do. But in Trump world, following the Constitution is now criminal interference. It's upside down, it's dangerous, and it's not going unnoticed. Jasmine Crockett is sounding the alarm, and the more they try to shut her down, the louder she gets. And listen, if you think this video was wild, oh, you have no idea what Trump just did next. Click the video on your screen. It's outrageous. Don't forget to like and subscribe because we are breaking it all down piece by piece. The chaos isn't slowing down, and neither are we.